Good afternoon, guys. Pandy here of Pandy's Hair Candy and more. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon? Hey, what's up? I am Pandy of Pandy's Hair Candy and more. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. You already know what it is. Over here, we like to chop it up. We talk about wigs, natural hair, a little bit of makeup, a little bit of wellness and beauty. I've been dibbling and dabbling in some recipes, and hence the name Hair Candy and More, because it's not just hair. I also do popular TV show reviews. So, again, welcome to all of my first time visitors. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. As a newer YouTuber, I appreciate you taking the time to take a few minutes out of your day to stop by and take a look at what my channel has to offer. Please take a moment to hit the like button on your way in, and please subscribe. And also, don't forget to hit the bell so that you're notified when I upload new content to the channel. All right. Thank you, guys. Now, today we are going to get into Queen Sugar. It is season 4, episode 9. It was titled Stare at the Same Fires. I am also working diligently, y'all, and trying to get better in getting these reviews out in a more timely fashion. And y'all, please don't come for your girl. Just please keep me in prayer and please encourage me and try to motivate me so that I can continue to work on that, because my time management is crazy sometimes. Because, like, for instance, last week I worked 7 days, so I just was exhausted when I got home from work. And that's no excuse. I'm trying to grow this channel, so I need to put in the work, and I realize that. There's also some more shows that are coming out that I plan on reviewing. Power will be starting August 25th, and then Greenleaf will also be starting soon. So I know I want to give reviews on those shows as well. So yeah. And also, disclaimer, guys, I am literally waiting for my husband to come back from the store with a battery for the smoke detector that y'all hear chirping in the background. It is literally right outside the room door of my little shooting room here. So if y'all hear that chirping in the background, don't go for your girl, okay? It happens. I done seen it in plenty of videos, and I guess it's my turn. All right, so jumping right in. And I'm just glancing down, looking at some notes that I took so that I can stay on track and not run y'all too long. Again, this is Queen Sugar, Season 4, Episode 9, Stare at the Same Fires. Now, this episode begins with Charlie in a bar trying to drown all her problems in a bottle. And if you're anything like me and you've been watching the show from since the beginning, Charlie has always been the rock in the family. Charlie has been the rock, even though she was the outside child. You got to remember that now. Ernest had her outside of marriage when he was still married to Trudy, which is Ralph Angel and Nova's mother. He had her by a white woman. She was the successful sister who had gone off to Hollywood and married the professional NBA ball player Davis. She was rich. She was his manager. And by all counts, Charlie can bounce from St. Joe and never look back, and her life will still be good. But because she is the rock, and because she loves the family, and because her father had such a strong, close relationship, she has moved back to St. Joe, and she's trying to be there for her family and support them, and keeping the family land and just making St. Joe a better place for the people of St. Joe. So with all the stuff that has happened, I'm actually surprised that it's taken this long for Charlie to get to this point. Charlie's mill has been burnt down. There was an arson. Auntie Vi's diner has been vandalized. Ralph Angel's prison reentry program, they're trying to shut it down. Micah has had abuse, well, not really abuse, but, incident where he was racially profiled by the police. And then Charlie's immigrant medical clinic was raided a couple of episodes back by ICE agents. So it's been a lot going on. So it's no surprise that she is finally hit her breaking point. And this episode starts off where we see Charlie sitting down in a bar outside of one of the bayous there, and she is sloppy drunk. She is sloppy drunk, and it is not a good look because remember, Charlie's running for city office. I believe it's a city council position, and that's never a good thing to be out in public because you know somebody is always lurking with their camera phone to catch you slipping. Okay, so that's where the episode begins. Now, next, we see Nova show up at her newfound family members. I believe she is the long lost cousin of their mother, Miss Trudy. Her name is Miss Martha, I believe, and she lives outside of one of the bayous on a beautiful, beautiful piece of land. Just acres upon acres of beautiful land. She is very regal. She's very she just embodies the whole Louisiana culture, from her accent to her presence and her aura and the way that she graces the screen. She has the head wrap. It was just something about her that was very welcoming and very authentic, as far as the Louisiana culture goes. So, when Nova pulls up, she feels that sense of rendezvous. Like, you know how you get that feeling like there's something very familiar about this place. And she shares that with Miss Martha. And Miss Martha's like, child, because you've been here before. You don't remember you were 3 years old and your mama, that accent, your mama used to chase you all over this land, and she's like, really? She's in awe. And Nova's soaking this up and she's loving it because remember, she's at odds with her entire family. No one is speaking to her right now because of that tell all book. So she is totally here for meeting and sitting down with Miss Martha and learning more about her family's history. Miss Martha's home is beautiful. It's elegant. There's lots of photos and things. And she tells Nova when they kind of hold hands that she knows that she's gotten the gift. All of the women in their family had the gift. They were called to be healers. And she said a lot of them ran from it. Some of them accepted it. She personally, I think she said she ran from it. And because of that, she was banned and banished off the land by the father. She said that she went on to go travel. She's gone to Haiti, Ghana, all these, mystical places all over the world, just traveling and going to school and educating herself. But she had came back many years ago and purchased the land. She said their mother Trudy knew about it and she would often sneak off and bring the children back to visit. But the rest of the family never knew that she had, ever came back. So she also gives Nova a book which belonged to their mother Trudy, and it was a book of, some of her spells and remedies. And she tells her, to embrace it and a lot of things she had wrong. Like Nova had assumed that her mom given up on her gifts because she had the children, herself and Ralph Angel. And Miss Martha tells her, no, you guys were the apple of her eyes. Ernest as well. You guys were not mistakes. And then some kind of way they get to talking, and Nova mentions the fact that they, what do you call it when you burn the people and not bury them? I can't think of the name right now, y'all, but Nova thought that she had been, I cannot think of the word, and that she basically saw their dad, Ernest, spread the mother's ashes among the land. And Miss Martha's like, child, no, you got it all twisted. Your mama's buried right there on the Queen Sugar farm. So it's just this, like, interesting that Nova writes this whole tell-all book about the family, and there's so much that she's wrong on. Like, For example, what, last episode or the episode before, Mr. Prosper had to let her know she was wrong on that story about the men that her father got into a fight with, and she basically put it out there like she saw him bury the people when Mr. Prosper told her no, he actually took that man to the hospital. So that's going to be an interesting spin on things. Okay, now next we see Darla showing up with Ralph Angel being overly dramatic as usual about the fact that Blue is so what's the word I'm looking for? Blue is so caught up in happy with his new best friend Jawar and Daisha. She realized that Daisha was Ralph Angel's new girlfriend, but she didn't realize that that was Jawar's mother. And she's going off on Ralph Angel because she feels like he should have told her that. And Ralph Angel's like, for one, you the one who told me that you didn't think that we needed to be discussing who we're seeing. And y'all remember that? She did say that when he was asking questions about that guy that she was so-called dating. So I'm like, Darla, please set your tail down somewhere and quit tripping and being all extra. Okay, next we see Mr. Prosper show up at the diner with Miss Genevieve, the lady from back in the day that has resurfaced. And they're all sitting down talking with Miss Vi. And everybody's trying to figure out where Charlie is because no one has seen Charlie since the previous day or whatever. Next, we go to Micah. Micah is at home chilling when his girlfriend Kiki shows up unannounced. She's all hot and bothered. And remember in last week's episode, they had been planning and discussing on prom night how she would like to go ahead and that be a special night that she goes ahead and give her virginity to Micah on prom night. And I think that was very responsible that they were actually discussing it and planning for it and, taking measures to take preparations. I guess that's what the kids do nowadays. I don't know. But I thought that was pretty interesting that now here she is over here looking all seductive and looking all hot and bothered. I don't know what done got into Miss Kiki, but she was ready to drop them panties. And I'm just like, really, Kiki, girl? Chill. Slow down. Okay, please. I don't want to see no pregnancy right now for y'all. It ain't time. It's just too soon. Back at Nova's, she's still in awe of all the family history. Okay? Again, she didn't know that all the women in her family had been called to be healers. We all do know that Nova carries herself as a healer. She's been preparing remedies and advising women there in St. Joe for years, and now it's just been confirmed that this is something that was generationally passed down to her, and she's just sitting there embracing and basking in it, being that the rest of her family is at odds with her. Okay? Next, we go back to Micah and Kiki. They are moving forward and getting ready to go all the way. But then she suddenly falls back and they begin to talk. She's wanting to confirm that he's never slept with anyone there in St. Joe. He, of course, reassures her that no, it's just been him and her going strong since they moved there. And they kind of get back into the swing of things, and it's looking like they're getting ready to go all the way because remember now, Charlie is gone, so they got the house to themselves. So the opportunity is definitely presenting itself, okay? However, the phone rings. Micah answers it. It's Charlie. She's sounding kind of weird on the phone to him, telling him to meet her at the mill, I believe. And he's like, is everything okay? And she's like, yeah, just he's noticing something is off with her, but I'm not quite sure he put it all together at that point. Next, Hollywood shows up at the farm just to check in on Ralph Angel. They share some encouraging words with one another, and Hollywood tries to invite him over to the house to hang out with the fellas. He says, we're going to be hanging out, playing some cards, just doing what guys do. And Ralph Angel declines because he's like, I got all this crop and stuff. I gotta work and I got a deadline. I ain't got no time to be hanging out, blah, blah, blah. So Ralph Angel declines to hang out, and Hollywood's kind of feeling some type of way, but we're not quite sure at this moment what it is that's bothering him. They hug and they depart. Now, back at the diner, the little Hispanic boy who is working his dead off for Vi because of vandalizing the diner, he shows up with some sort of Hispanic dish that his mother prepared. Auntie Vi is, like, what is that? And he tells her what the dish is and whatnot. And she's like, okay. She's trying to keep up this hard persona because she doesn't want to, I guess she's trying to, show the boy tough love. She tells him there's a list back there with a bunch of stuff on it that she expects to be done before his shift is over. And he's like, yes, ma'am. And, Vi just being Vi. Now, apparently, Nova's mom, we go back to Nova. Nova's mother has been visiting her in her dreams. The lady gives Nova a book that her mom was studying to be a healer. She also shared that their mom was buried on the family farm and not cremated as they were originally told. I had discussed that early, even though I had the notes here. So I had already mentioned that to you guys. Now back at the crib, Hollywood is sitting down playing cards with the fellas. They're at him and Auntie Vi's house. And the fellas are doing what the fellas do. They're cracking jokes, telling him about, they heard about that whooping he put on Jimmy Dale, and if it had been them, they would have did this. If it had been them, they would have done that. And Hollywood's like, you can't really say for sure, y'all, because, at the end of the day, you just don't know how you would react if you were ever put in that position. Now we go back to the diner. Micah shows up and he's looking for Charlie now. Apparently, he has a tracker on her phone. So Mr. Prosper reminds him, don't you have that thing on her phone? Let's figure out where she's at. Next thing we see Darla showing up at Old Boy's, I can't think of his name, the guy that she was dating from the Clean and Sober program that she's always blowing off because she keeps interfering with Ralph Angel. He looks like he's having some sort of rehearsal. He must be in like a band or something. She shows up there unannounced because I'm thinking he's been ghosting her. He hasn't been in touch with her since she acted funny style with him the last time he tried to reach out to her. He tells her he's read Nova's book, and he tells her that he's not ghosting her or judging her, but that he is concerned about her future. He tells her that he feels she's on the verge of relapsing, and for the sake of his own sobriety, he has to pump the brakes on their relationship. I gotta commend this guy. He is 100% dead on. And of course, Darla gets in her feelings and she's in big time denial and she's not trying to hear it. But I agree with old boy 110%. Next, based on the fact that Micah did have the tracking agent on his mom's phone, Nova finds Charlie at the bar, sloppy drunk. Now, you see how that works? Charlie's always the rock. And now here it is, Nova, the one who caused half of this drama that everybody's dealing with, has to be the one to come and find her. Next, we see Hollywood show up at the diner to help Auntie Vi close up for the night. He starts to talk to Vi about how things were going at the card game with the fellas, and he's like, you women guys, you guys always have some sort of thing going on where you guys can kind of get together and share and support one another. Why don't have nothing like that for the men? Vi tells him, I don't know, but that's a good idea. You might want to look into that. So Hollywood is realizing that based on the way the fellows were, they weren't getting on him, but they were being insensitive in the way his actions towards Jimmy Dale may have had tension with him and his woman now. And in fact, it did. And he felt like this is something that the men need to be able to discuss so that they can do better going forward. And I think that's going to be awesome if Hollywood can break out and have some sort of support group, because I feel they can all benefit from it, from the younger people on down to Micah, all the way up to the older people, up to Mr. Prosper. I think that would be very good and very healthy for the men there in St. Joe. Um, Next, we see Micah talking to Ralph Angel. He's basically trying to get advice on going to the next level with Kiki. And, Ralph Angel's just telling him, man, you just got to do right by her, treat her right. And, if she's going to be the one, you just got to treat her right. Don't do her wrong, and, be solid. And if you love her, love her. If you can't commit, just don't even fool with her on that level. Next, he calls Darla to say goodnight. So basically, she could say goodnight to Blue. And when Blue gets on the phone with her, he's like, where were you? I've been calling you all day. And she's sitting there looking all melodramatic, teary-eyed, and got a dang bottle in her hand. She act like the world is caving in on her because her addictive past is, confronting her and catching up with her. She can't just, A, reach out to her sponsor if she really needs support, B, get out of denial, and C, look at the fact that you have this little boy here depending on you, and then you got a man here that, A, you lied to, he's not even the biological father, but B, because he loves him and has raised him, is still willing to stand by you and raise this child. I mean, she has so much more positive than negative going on, but she just can't see the trees for the forest. But at any rate, Blue's telling her about how Deja and her daughter came in and they had cupcakes and they had this awesome day, and they played like they were on Mars, like how we used to do, Mommy. And I felt that was key, that he even though he's sharing with her that he's enjoying this lady and her daughter so much, but he still was like, Mama, you should have been there. It was just like we used to do. He's still letting you know that he needs you in his life. And Darla's sitting there with the dang bottle. Now, she sniffed the bottle, but she didn't drink it. Thank the Lord, okay? But Darla's just, I don't know what's going to happen with Darla. She really do need to get with her sponsor, because she really is about to relapse and be back out there if she don't get it together. Okay, just being extra as usual. And next, we go to the scene with Nova and Charlie. Nova done carried Charlie all the way home safely. Charlie is so drunk. I mean, she really didn't even want to leave the bar with Nova. She practically had to strong arm her and get her in the car. She was like, I know you're mad at me, but this is not a good look. I'm going to take you home. She gets her home. She puts her PJs on her. She tucks her into bed. And even though Charlie is drunk, as Nova's getting ready to walk off, she tells her, I'll be in the guest room if you need me. Charlie mutters, why did you say all those things? Why did you write all those things? And Nova turns around and walks back to the bed and is like, I really didn't mean to hurt you. I really thought I was helping the family. I apologize. I love you. You're my sister. I love you and I apologize. And Charlie begins to cry. They both begin to cry. Nova just apologizes. In that moment, Charlie breaks down and she lets out a loud cry, like it was like a little girl crying. It was so sad. I got teary-eyed, y'all. I ain't even gonna front. She began to break down because I feel like she's just at her lowest point right now. And Nova, being the older of the sisters, she climbed into the bed with her. She hugged her and held her tight. She embraced her and she just held her so that Charlie could get it out. Because, it was one of them kind of cries where you gotta get it out. You gotta let it out. and it was nothing else to be said. Nova just let her cry. And that scene, her embrace and her laying her head on her little sister and just holding her while she cried and let her cry, it was so powerful. It was so deep. It was just the sisterly thing to do. And without words even being exchanged, they were mending things and fixing it and making it right between the sisters right then in that moment. And it was a powerful scene, y'all. Um, Next, the family's trying to heal. They end up having some sort of function. I believe it was at the mill. And, just doing like they used to do in the old times when the family and the community, they all come together and they're dancing, they're praying, they're socializing, they're fellowshipping. And, they're just discussing the fact that they're going to rebuild. They're not going to be ran out of their land. They're going to rebuild. They're going to survive. They're going to make it. It might not always be easy, but they're going to move forward. And this is pretty much where the episode ends, y'all. I am so pleased with the writing on this show. They really know how to capture us and reel us in, and the scenes, whoever the writers are, they're just amazing. Y'all, that was my response and my review, my commentary in my own way of season 4, episode 9, Queen Sugar. You all drop down in the comments. Let me know if I missed anything, because I was kind of doing other things as I was watching it, but I think I pretty much summarized everything. Let me know what y'all thought of the episode. Let me know if I missed anything. And let me know what y'all thoughts are. I again thank you guys for stopping by and rocking with your girl. And until next time, bye. Have a good Sunday, everyone.